Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you the best Teostra melee builds for all weapon types. This video analyzes the best builds for the Teostra melee weapons. We will look individually into each weapon type and analyze the best pieces for those particular builds. But before we get started, here's a big disclaimer. Elder Dragon weapons are extremely time consuming and expensive. Make sure you consider the difficulty before you decide to build them and max them out. If you aren't experienced fighting Elder Dragons, if you don't have like 100 plus kills in Kushala, of course you're gonna use a lot of potions, and if you don't have maxed out water and ice weapons, you're never gonna do as much damage as someone that does, and you're probably getting carried most of the time. But other than that, again, Elder Dragon weapons and armor, really expensive. Consider all your resources and the time it will take for you to build these and max them out if you're going after them. First, we are going to start off with what Teostra weapon types are available. So not every melee weapon type currently in the game has a Teostra monster type weapon. As a dual blades main, I would love dual blades to come in as a Teostra weapon, especially if you play the main series, it has blast and ice, or it's dual element. Fortunately, we don't have that yet. So here are the weapons that do, and there are currently 6 Teostra melee weapons available in Monster Hunter now. The sword and shield, the greatsword, the hammer, the longsword, the lance, and the charge blade. And all Teostra melee weapons carry the blast status element. And now we move on to the best Teostra weapons melee build. So this build can work for all of the Teostra melee weapon types. Some of them don't work as well with this, but we're gonna have alternative builds in a bit if you're looking to use something else. And this build uses burst level 4 for a 20% attack power boost. Teostra Blast Powder is maxed out at level 3 to proc blast as much as you can. 3 is a standard, you increase your chances by 33%, a third, which is a lot, and you get a whole bunch of skills with it. In addition, Rathian Vambraces provide lock-on, and the build also has Evade Extender level 1 and Artful Dodger level 1 to make it easier to chase down monsters and dodge out of attacks. To use this build, you need the Zinogre helmet at grade 6, the Teostra Mail at grade 8, the Rathian Vambraces at grade 6, the Teostra Coil at grade 8, and the Teostra Greaves at grade 8. Next, we move on to the alternate builds. First, we're going to start off with the Greatsword. And for the Teostra Greatsword, we have Focus level 3, which is the standard level for Greatsword charge attacks. You want to charge at the optimal chance and timing? Well, Focus level 3 is perfect. You don't need any more than that, and it does pretty well. In addition, you have Teostra Blast Powder is at level 2 to still proc blast at a decent rate. We can't get level 3, but at the same time, the unfortunate thing about the Greatsword is that it is the worst status infliction weapon in the game because it's so slow. Yeah, you could shoulder bash, however, shoulder tackling and shoulder bashing things to death and trying to proc your element isn't the most effective way to have an overall DPS. So it's just the way it is. And we have Black Diablo's Coil, which provides lock-on, and this build also allows you to take advantage of heroics at level 3 if you're close enough to go below 30%. So if you manage to go below 30%, and you can do this with the shoulder tackle for the Greatsword, you can put yourself below 30, and then you have that boost with heroics. In addition, Evade Extender level 2 allows you to easily dodge monster attacks, and it pairs well with Artful Dodger. For this build, you need the Teostra Greatsword at grade 8 or grade 10 are as high as you can get it for max damage, the Azarathalos Helmet at grade 6, the Teostra Mail at grade 8, the Kushala Diora Vambraces at grade 8, the Black Diablo's Coil at grade 6, and the Teostra Greaves at grade 8. Moving on, we have the next alternate build, which is going to be for the Teostra Hammer. And for the Teostra Hammer, we have Slugger level 2, which is the standard for stunning monsters with Hammer. You got Slugger level 2, increases stun power by 15%, and you boink, and you stun things, and then you hopefully blast them to death. Because with Teostra Blast Powder at level 3, you're going to be able to get to proc blast as much as you can. Rathian Vambraces provide lock-on, and Burst level 3 is bonus damage for the Hammer if you are able to keep it active. The Hammer is really hard to proc burst. If you pop your ult right away, you might be able to activate it and keep it active the entire battle. However, it is difficult, but again, think of burst as a bonus. What we're doing here is mostly stunning, boinking, and blasting something to death, and hopefully you stun something so that your teammates and you are able to get some extra hits off and hopefully take out the monster before it gets unstunned, or it helps you out a lot during that hunt. To use this build, you need the Teostra hammer at grade 8 or at grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Devil Jewel helmet at grade 6, the Teostra mail at grade 8, Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Teostra coil at grade 8, and the Teostra greaves at grade 8. Moving on, we have an alternate build for the Teostra longsword and charge blade. So we have quick work level 2 for this build, which allows you to counter faster with the longsword and transition to axe mode faster with the charge blade. And the build has Teostra blast powder maxed out at level 3 to proc blast as much as it can. There's Rothian Van Braces that provide lock on, and burst level 3 is easy to proc and maintain with the longsword and charge blade. And finally, this build gives you Power Prolonger level 1, which gives bonuses to the longsword and charge blade. So if you use them, you're going to get bonuses thanks to this skill. And if you want to use this build, you need the Teostra longsword at grade 8 or grade 10 or as high as you can get it, the Odogaron helmet at grade 6, the Teostra mail at grade 8, the Rothian Van Braces at grade 6, the Teostra coil at grade 8, and the Teostra greaves at grade 8. And last but not least, we have the Status Sneak Attack level 5 build. So Status Sneak Attack level 5 is maxed out with this build, allowing you to greatly inflict blast while attacking a monster from behind. This build is a great alternative if you don't want to spend the resources to build and grade 8 multiple pieces of Teostra armor. As someone that's actually killed a bunch of Kushala so I could get the armor pieces to grade 8, and I'm probably going to kill a few more Teostra because I want that waste for my dual blades main build, it's going to take a lot of pain, time, and resources. Even if you're doing it with a 3-hour free window, it's going to take a lot of time and resources and pain. So if you don't want to do that, you can use this build. However, it does also require a subspecies, which is a Nightshade Palumu. As of right now, Nightshade Palumu hasn't came back, but it will come back eventually. Eventually it's going to come back so that you can build the legs and complete this build. Puke Helm will provide you lock on with this build, and this build also has Evade Extender level 1 and Artful Dodger level 1 to make it easier to chase down monsters and dodge out of attacks. For this build, you need your Teostra melee weapon at grade 8 or grade 10 as high as you can get it, the Puke helmet at grade 8, the Sisiaku mail at grade 4, Sisiaku Van Braces at grade 4, Sisiaku coil at grade 4, and the Nightshade Palumu greaves at grade 6. And that is exactly how you're going to feel. That is an underrated anime, by the way. Rave Master was amazing. But you will explode whenever you hit and build enough blast elemental with your weapons. Hopefully this build helps you decide what Teostra build you want to use. And as you upgrade your Teostra weapons, blast will proc less, as most of your damage will come from the raw damage. As unfortunate it is, that's how it's going to be. Most of your damage isn't going to come from blast. If you proc blast, say 6 times, that's 30%, 70% of the damage is still going to come from your raw. And again, as you upgrade your weapon, raw gets stronger, and thus you will proc blast less. So remember, that being said, right now, the only blast weapon is Teostra. So it's an Elder Dragon, and Elder Dragon weapons and armor are expensive and time consuming. In addition, the Teostra blast weapons aren't overpowered or a must-have, so don't have the fear of missing out over them. You can totally skip them. You can come back and wait till another blast that's more accessible comes out, and again, it's not overpowered, so you don't have to worry about it. Please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. May you have the best drops. May Teostra drop all those horns so that you can grade 8 your Teostra armor, because you're going to need them if you want to make fully powered builds for Teostra weapons. And I will see y'all on the next video.